We got to make sure the chat's up.
It already is. Old radios
Well,
is on.
yeah, that chat. There we are.
Are we live?
Fool, if you think it's over, yeah, I'm watching that Dahmer thing on Netflix.
I kind of figured that would be the first thing we talk about.
I've not to
I kind of figured that would be the
uh,
first thing we talk about.
caller, turn your radio down.
You know what? This is hey,
It wouldn't
what do
be.
you
It
it
wouldn't
wouldn't
be.
be.
It
It wouldn't
wouldn't
be
be.
without a hiccup.
It
So
wouldn't be. Hey, old radios. I have to admit, old radios.
Mark is the only person next to my mother who has not watched that series yet.
um, yeah, old radios shared songs for swinging mothers. Did you see that on our
I,
page? On our
I
page?
did that. That was odd.
That's
Is
like
that gonna?
that's like a desirable record. Like that's one that sometimes you see come up on lists as like, one of those weird John's on Team Zima. Uh, drop a Jolly Rancher in it, John, and you'll have a good time. Just like 1997 all over again. Um, but yeah, what was I talking about? I completely.
Dahmer? You
Yeah,
know,
we're talking. No, we're
the
talking
thing
about.
everybody's talking about it
I
right
know,
now.
but I was talking about something else though. It felt like was no songs for songs for swinging mothers. That's what I was talking about, not Jeffrey Dahmer. But that record is like it's like a desirable record.
Really,
Yeah, so there's like it's all like pregnant ladies on a swing. There's the sort
that
of like
seems incredibly unsafe. Are they
well,
smoking cigarettes
well,
too?
but the one is actually standing up on the swing and like at a full swing or whatever. So go out to the Minglewood Facebook page. Just another reason to go to that page, Steve. Check out that
Like,
that.
share, and subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications.
Smash that notification button. Um, yeah.
So
So
have you watched the Netflix special yet?
I have not. No, and
Okay.
I don't intend on watching it too. I honestly.
The
Um,
acting is superb in it, but it's disgusting. It'll make you. Everybody in that show, with the exception of his neighbor, failed. Everybody failed. So,
yep. Yep. Well, that took
well,
place.
and his victims too. They didn't do anything wrong, but you see what I mean, like his parents, and
Yeah.
it's like you gotta watch. It's just sad and depressing. The police, all that. It's sad.
That
It's
didn't
sad. So
didn't it take place in Medina, Ohio? Isn't that where it was?
Milwaukee,
Milwaukee? Okay.
Milwaukee. Yeah, I think he grew up in. Maybe he
Maybe it's like
did
he grew up
somewhere in
there.
Ohio.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
maybe that was where he was finally caught. I don't know.
No, he was
Uh,
caught in Milwaukee. No, he all the it really ramped up in Milwaukee,
Milwaukee.
or as
Uh,
the Native Americans call Milwaukee, which means
Milwaukee.
land of the plenty.
Do you remember
Wayne's
Milwaukee?
World. No,
Do you remember the
the
Milwaukee?
'82 Brewers. Yeah, I remember the '82 Brewers. Gorman Thomas, baby.
Gorman Thomas. There you go. Does he sign? Is he a
He
signer?
does.
Okay, I think I
Five
might.
dollars.
Five
He went
dollars.
to.
Okay.
You know where he's from? Right up the street too from me.
Okay.
So he's a hometown dude. So yeah.
Um,
Cecil Cooper,
do you remember? Do you
Ed
remember?
Simmons. Let's talk about the '82 Brewers, Mark.
No.
All right.
No. What I was going to talk about was the Milwaukee's Best commercials and how I haven't seen one of those in a long time, but um, one that really sticks out in my mind is sort of like these guys sitting around a campfire and they're they're drinking beer and they're like it doesn't get any better than this, and then there was like these like babes in bikinis like parachuted down. Do you remember that? Do you remember that as a kid? So yeah,
Yep. You remember the stuffed crust commercial with Ringo Starr in it?
yeah. Do you remember
He was
this?
like,
I
he,
remember there's another remember that there's another stuffed crust commercial that I know that I showed you that was
yeah.
former United States president and so anyhow, welcome to the Minglewood County Preservation Society and
It has been a
Pit
minute.
Pit Barbecue, broadcasting live from the Bat Cave. Um, I have successfully moved into a new location and undisclosed location, and yes, we're back in
I
the New
don't even
York
have.
groove.
I don't even have your new address.
You
So
don't, no, not a lot of people do, including the mailman. So uh, our mail is still getting delivered to the old house. So, oh yeah, the Pizzone. Remember the Pizzone revolution that
Oh
they were
yeah,
having? Yeah,
oh yeah.
exactly. Pizzones were good. But Steve, do you want to kick off this show? How many people do we have watching right now? I don't even know. What's you got
Uh,
the
we four.
we got four people. Okay,
Yeah.
well I think now is a good as good of a time as any. Um, so should we preface this? Should we explain what we're getting ourselves into here, or
Did you see
um,
that Judge hit 62? Just want to throw that out there.
oh, okay, awesome, very
Yeah.
cool.
So very cool.
Uh,
Yeah. Preface it. Preface it before we
so
talk about it.
so there is a company that not affiliated with the Minglewood County Preservation Society and Pit Barbecue in any way.
That's why we're
Um,
not mentioning their name. They're not
but not,
getting
yeah, because who knows what
not on our backs.
not on our backs. But they sent me this email the other day. They make hats. I guess I should say they make hats, embroider hats. You can get sort of you can get old school hats from them. Let's just say that, right, Steve? Wink, wink. You need to slide over. I need to slide the chat box over because it's like in your face. But we're good now. No, other way, other direction. There you go. So anyhow, they do these old school hats, and they sent me an email and said, "Hey, we have some hats that are seconds. What else do you want to say, Steve? Mishap,
Hiccup, baby, a goof.
goof, and they're $6, and it's basically you pay more for shipping than you do for the hat, and they're like, we'll send you just like a random hat." And Steve, I reached out to you and I said, how funny would it be to get one of these random hats? And you were like, I think in your best Dusty Rhodes voice, you're like, "Do it, baby. You want me to send me a hat?" So we have held out on finding out what hat that you received until this particular moment in time. So
Absolutely.
if you want to go ahead and do the honors and let's find out what oh, this first class everything. Oh goodness. All right.
Yeah.
So
Look. Ooh, baby.
yeah,
Ooh,
well, yeah,
nothing
don't
but
want
the
to
best.
don't show that. So let's see what do we have? Oh yeah. So old radios did want to say rip to the goat Loretta Lynn. Yes, passing
I
of
hear you.
Loretta Lynn. Uh, Joe Broussard passed away this week as well, or last week. Who he pretty much is. If you have any liking for 78 records in sort of the modern digital era. Okay, here we go. So Steve, you're meticulously cutting the box open.
Now, did they say what's going to happen to that 78 collection of his?
They didn't. No, they. I'm not really too sure how it's going to be, but there's, plenty of people that I think have interest in that, and so it'll be interested to see what comes out of it. So let's see the hat, Steve.
I have split the box open. I have not looked.
Okay,
There goes flap number one,
flap number
flap number
two.
two, flap number three, and
Okay,
flap
here,
number four.
and the hat is. Okay, that's a Pokemon thing.
Is it?
I think so.
All right. Well, oop, I got a big dome.
Got a big dome. As long as it's not the. That's a good looking hat. That's not too bad of a hat.
I
Does it
wish I could have got the the
right?
show me your
Yeah, there's some give me my vape. There was some good ones. What does it say? Is there words underneath that thing?
Nintendo. Oh, that's yeah. You can't read it. It looks like Nintendo, and then yeah, you can't read the other stuff.
I think that's a Pokemon thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
Um,
Is anybody?
old radios as the young one of the group. Do you know what that character is?
Well, thank you, Mark. I kind
It's
of
been a
like it.
long time and I can't remember. Their name is Gengar. Let's see.
Genghis Kong, baby.
Gengar. Let's see. Gengar. Yeah, that's
What
Gengar. There you go. Old
is it?
radios. Boom. Point.
Gengar.
Point.
What was? Yeah. All
It's
right.
uh it's Gengar.
Well, thank you.
That's it. So there's your
I
Gengar
like
hat.
it. I
Uh
appreciate it.
it was into them 1999 to 2000. Lost interest in 2001. In 2002, gained interest again, and then in 2003, also lost interest in Pokemon. Um,
Easy come, easy go, baby.
so, Steve, what do you think about these? Talking about Pokemon. There was McDonald's were doing the Pokemon cards and the Happy Meals.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the cactus plant flea market? Have you seen this? What are your thoughts?
I have. I went to McDonald's today, as a matter of fact, and got my daughter some fries, but I did not get the big meal because I was like $10.
But yet you can
Ass.
you can you can sell the figure online for
I
$20 as I
I
as
thought
I
about that.
as I showed
So
you.
did that guy message you at 2:38 like a bunch of times asking if you'll take
So
less for it?
there were two people that put in offers at like $18. So I have it set on so it didn't automatically accept the offer. So if they put on $18, I'd have to go in and do it. And of course, like, um, this is what I refer to as dark bidding, which is when you're on eBay,
At 2:38
two
a.m. It's like
thirty
trying to
in the
buy McDonald's toys.
bidding on things on eBay, doing dark bidding. So yeah, so then there were two that were $18 offers on it. One was like messaged me, just asked, "Would you take $15?" And then that just the sale for $20. So that's it,
Free
baby.
shipping.
Free shipping, man. Boom, out the door. So
Very cool. Now you can go buy two more and
exactly, exactly.
well,
But
cool.
but I'll tell you, after moving, I will probably not want. The thought of like the thought of going to McDonald's and getting McDonald's food and getting the adult Happy Meal, right? So I want to talk about that in a
Is there
second.
beer?
I want to talk about that in a second though, but the just the going there, getting that toy, being able to sell it on eBay for $20 like instantly. Um, I, I would normally just be like, we're just gonna go, right? Like, let's just go. We're gonna do that. But like, I have eaten so much McDonald's with this move that it's kind of like the only option where it's just like, well, do I want like Taco Bell or do I want KFC or do I want McDonald's? And like, it's McDonald's every time because it's just like, I'm just like, I do not want to be lifting boxes and like, you know,
After pounding 12 tacos,
yeah, exactly. After
could,
get
could go south on you
I mean,
pretty
it's
quick.
it's bad. You get the McGurgles, whatever, the McBubbles from that stuff. Anyhow, you
The
don't want to
McBubble guts.
the McBubble guts. You don't want to do the Taco Bell. It just you're just staring down the barrel of a shotgun there. So adult Happy Meal, does it come with an adult toy? It just comes with this weird kind of. But here's the thing, Steve. What I wanted to talk about is like, so you have Burger King, you have McDonald's, and it's just been like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There's no one that has been like, if you had the choice, if they were right next to each other, would you go to Burger King or would you go to McDonald's?
McDonald's, dude. Burger King, every Burger King I've been to, it's terrible and it tears my stomach up, man.
Okay.
Cannot do the Burger King. If that's the king, then that is a very low rent country.
um, I mean, it's. I mean, I enjoy Burger King. I enjoy the chicken fries. That's awesome. They had the frozen
There,
stuff,
that
before.
sub chicken sandwich is pretty good,
Yeah,
but like
oh, their chicken sandwich is by far
I
better
will
than
I will
McDonald's.
say that. And their onion rings are why does McDonald's not have onion rings? Like that blows my mind. Why does McDonald's not have onion rings?
They're missing out. They're missing
They
out.
really are. They
Yeah.
really are.
Is there? I mean, but getting that like getting the fries from Burger King and then there's just the one onion ring in there. Isn't that like pretty great? Isn't that nice on that
That's
house?
that's like winning the lottery. You're like, and you know that cook in the back is like, you know what? You've had a rough day. Here's
Right,
4 onion
right,
rings.
right.
Go in peace.
But then you have at Burger King you have the rodeo burger, which is like the burger with the barbecue sauce and the one onion ring on it. And again, that's something like again McDonald's has never like they've done McPizza, they do McRib.
Well, they did onion bites back in the 70s.
Okay.
Like they I think
So
they
nobody remembers that. Nobody's ever had those.
well, they had is Bo on? They
Yeah,
had
where's Uncle Bo? I let him weigh in
uh
about onion bites at McDonald's.
they were like tater tots that they like fried up and but it was like a hunk of onion and it's like, yeah, no wonder, dude. Just cut them thin, put them in and just fry them up.
Just a hunk but anyhow,
Onion.
so again, so we talk about the adult Happy Meal, right? So they've essentially turned the corner here. So now they've moved into this part where it's like, okay, so when I go to McDonald's, okay, I may get, I've been hammering the two double cheeseburgers and the basket of fries for $6. That is
Oh, show.
that
You
is
can't beat it. That is the staple. Yes.
that is the
Yes.
the best kept secret on their menu right there.
Yep.
But now what they're doing is now they're saying, well, you want 10 nuggets or do you want a Big Mac? They're still pushing these Big Macs down our throats like
Yeah,
they're
but that's like $10, man. It's like 10.99. That's insane.
but
You're
then
paying $3 for a toy.
but that's it. But now they have, dude, talk about the people who have a small altar of Funko Pops in their house. What are this? If this is what the future is, I mean, again, you've just roped in every 35 to 45-year-old person. Okay,
Well,
yeah, I'm gonna get the 10 nuggets now. I'm gonna get the Big Mac and the fries. You know,
well, I think
give
this
me at
generation
least let
of
me get. Can I at least get a chocolate milk and some apple slices in there? You know what I mean? Like, give me that choice, man. You know?
the I think it's odd that it seems like millennials
Millennials.
are real. Thank you. It really seems like we've kind of cornered the market on collectability, right? Like
Oh yeah,
what
yeah,
and it seems like everything's collectible. Funko Pops, and it's not just baseball cards anymore or comic books. It seems like anything that you can think of, from VHS. People are getting VHS tapes graded now. Have you seen this?
that's
People, no, I'm
stuff.
seeing people are getting sealed copies of VHS tapes graded. Like the original Star Wars from CBS sold for, I don't know, a few $1,000s. Like it's crazy that the people, what isn't collectible. I think that'd be a much shorter list than what is collectible at this
For
point.
sure. Yeah. Nikon Jimmy says, "Hey guys, hey
Hey,
Nikon
what's
Jimmy,
up?
how are you doing?" People ordered Happy Meals and threw away the meal for the Beanie Babies. Or that's the first time that I remember where you could just buy the toy, and it was like the toy was like $2 and the meal, because I think Happy Meals were like a buck
Was it
ninety
three
nine back
ninety
then.
nine or
Well, I
was
think I think they were a buck 99 back then or something like that.
okay?
But then the
Yeah, it
toy
sounds
was
right.
like a buck 59 or something. I don't know. I just got a text message here, uh, letting me know about the Taco Bell mobile app for account holders can buy a Taco Lovers Pass starting on 10/4, which is today, 10/4, good buddy. Where what it allows you to do for $10, is it $10? Yeah, for $10 you can get this Taco Lovers Pass, and you can get a taco every day for up to 30 consecutive days. This is a real thing. Isn't that crazy? Go to tacobell.com/taco lovers pass.
Now,
Uh,
what is a taco at Taco Bell? Like just like a regular hard or soft taco?
is
Is
it,
that a
isn't it like
buck?
a, no, I think it's like a buck 29 or
Is
something
it?
like
Is it?
that, or maybe like it's getting close to $2, I think. So, um, hold on, Nikon
It's a
Jimmy's,
lot of money for diarrhea.
yeah, I remember when they were like what 59 and 69 cents,
Yeah,
things like that.
yeah. You could get a box of 12 for like $3 or $4.
Funko Pop
Or
seems like a
maybe.
waste to me. Gobs of ugly plastic, vaguely shaped to whatever franchise you'd like to buy crap for.
Yeah, I agree. Couldn't have said it better.
You've
I
basically
have
described
I
Funko.
have two Funko Pops,
I have
and
two
you
as
can
well.
guess. You can. All right, I'm going to
We
guess
both have
yours.
the
And you're going to
Jerry
guess mine.
Garcia one, right? We both
So
have
there's
that.
one.
And then
What's my?
I have a Jimi Hendrix one too. I have like the Jimi Hendrix Woodstock one.
I have Bill Miller,
Bill
Bill
Murray.
Murray
There you
from
go.
Caddyshack.
Okay,
So
there you are. I mean, but again, it's one of those things that they're, especially when they get the licenses for that. Like, if you had something or anything that was like, hey, do you want to be a Funko Pop? Like, how do you say no to that? You know what I
well,
mean?
it's easy money, right?
Yeah, I mean that's that's money in the bank. But yeah, so let's talk about what the heck are we going to talk about today other than fast food and all that. But
Well, just
um,
riff, man. This is fine. Look, we got 6 people watching. We've gained 2 people
woo! Well,
since they like to hear us talk about nonsense, Mark.
good evening. All this everybody talking about, hearing us talk about nonsense this fine evening. Steve, let's talk about Svengoolie, the Svengoolie Uncrypted. The
Yeah,
Svengoolie special. It's awesome that he finally sort of got a special on MeTV.
long
Uh,
overdue.
yeah, he's been he it's cool. It's cool to know that there's like somebody like him on, and just kind of seeing his sort of, I don't know, his following, if you will, in that Chicago metropolitan area,
If you will.
if you will. I enjoyed it. I thought I wish it was longer than. I wish it was like a 2 hour show. They could have jammed so much more into that. You know what I mean?
I'd have watched all of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I like Sven Tooney too. I know that a certain demographic of people uh, don't particularly care
No.
for it,
But you know what? There's always like one good joke that's like that was a hilarious joke. Like,
I mean, it's it borderlines, Mystery Science Theater 3000. So it's
right,
like,
right.
I mean, is it gold? No, but is it as horrible as some people on Facebook would want to make you think it is? No, absolutely not.
Yeah,
Like it's silly, and you always have the option of changing the channel. I don't know if a lot of these people realize that
yeah.
you it's going to be the same Star Trek episode you've seen 10,000 times following it up. So
Right, exactly.
you know,
I think it's cool because it's just like sometimes you know I like how they do the like you're like fast forwarding through the movie like they did what EGA the last time
yeah,
and
yeah.
and like it's just they jam everything together and it's like you probably don't need to watch this movie but let me just explain to you like the best parts of it
Yeah,
and
I
that's
mean,
it.
it's the
Yeah,
greatest hits of that movie in the bit. It's
yeah,
like if you compiled a list of your favorite Mystery Science Theater, and just kind of had like a half hour of like the best bits throughout the movie.
yeah.
That's all it is.
Well, they did. I think Mr. Science Theater. They did do EGOT, didn't they? Right. That's one of their.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that that was one of their
Yeah.
ones that they did. I kind of wish that they were showing that on Comet again. They only showed about 10 episodes a couple years back and all that. So
My favorite is Legend of Boggy Creek 2.
okay.
It is so like the jokes, like you
Yeah.
cannot go a 10-second span. Like I know the opening, they're showing the swamps and things like that. And I think it's Crow goes to Jim Stafford's bathwater.
Right.
Like it just like, it's so good, man. It's
Yeah.
so funny. It's so good. So
Old Radio said finally put together a huge rooftop antenna at my mom's house, and finally got rid of cable. Yeah, definitely. The you really don't need much more than what's on there. I can tell you that. I mean, I can get Fox and watch some wrestling, and they used to have Ring of Honor before that kind of whatever. So, um, hey kid, take my jacket. It's made of bologna. The Santa Claus Conquers the Martians one is my like. I watch that every year on Christmas Eve. I've done that for probably I don't know 10 years now. I think something like
yeah.
that. So that kind of started off as a joke. If you go back and you watch the Glass Orchid Aftermath Christmas special that I made 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever, 10 years ago, I had asked Sam about like I was like, "Hey, do you want to watch Santa Claus Conquers the Martians?" And she had no idea what it was at the time. And I'm like, "Okay, then we need to we need to watch this." So we've been doing that. So
It's so wild that people pay for cable. I'm not putting down anybody. If you genuinely enjoy paying for cable, God bless you. But you've got Tubi, you've got Pluto, you've got all, and those are free. Those are completely free. And I would check those out. Tubi has got some fantastic movies for absolutely free. It's commercials, but it's free. And not to mention all the paid for streaming services. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. You having to move the chat? My bad.
I did. You were like
So,
leaning into it.
so,
We couldn't go
but
get any more further over to the one side.
there's other options. I know you're a long time cord cutter, and
Yeah, like
we've
I mean,
we
yeah, just never really felt the need for it. And I've been, I've been probably watching Sven for like 4 or 5 years now at this point. I mean, I've made it a point to DVR it every Saturday, and unless it was a repeat, but so I pretty much have a collection of every single episode that he's done for the last 4 years, like as a digital copy of that. So,
Isn't
um,
there somebody that records it like with like a handheld or something and then uploads it to YouTube?
yeah, there was some guy on that the page that did that. So, um, goodness, God bless people. Uh, I mean, and part of me wishes that, unfortunately, just with the licensing with the movies, like he just can't, um, he can't.
Something that is lost on a lot of people.
Right? Yeah, like it's like, if because if Sven made an official DVD, I would buy it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Without a doubt. But unfortunately, you can't do that. Um, and I think, and that's usually that always comes up as sort of a comment every so often. So, um, but yeah, good stuff. Got the best antenna that they sold at Menards. And you know what? There's an app out there, Old Radios, that can help you sort of align. So if you're trying to get a specific station, you just sort of, on your phone, you just kind of hold it in the direction that your antenna is going, and it'll sort of tell you which way the correct feed is. But um, I haven't put our big antenna up yet, but I've been doing pretty good. I just have one of those ones that's like the little like it's like the little square thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I'm talking about? What do you
Yeah.
what? uh,
Old Ken Copeland getting fired up is all the religious programming I need. Yeah,
Right.
he's a scumbag. He's an absolute scumbag. So
Yeah, here's the 4 channels you want to watch and 500 Christian channels you won't watch. Yeah, like there's
did you see him get all bent out of shape at that reporter who was asking why he doesn't fly commercial and he bought that big jet and he like loses his mind and starts screaming at her
I
and
haven't.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
I'll have to Google. And the name sounds familiar, but I don't really know who that is. But
He's a televangelist. It's yeah. I mean, just give me your money kind of a situation.
there you go. Old radios. The app is TV Towers. So if you want to find out what it is out in Nebraska,
Like the
uh,
Twin Towers.
like
Remember
the
Big Boss Man and Hakeem the African Dream?
Oh man. So yeah, what's been going on with so wrestling 35 years ago? I put that on our thing that the mega powers joined forces. And what do you think of that storyline, Steve? What is that? Where does that sort
Eh,
of sit up there? Is that
I'm
like great moment? The mega powers collide. I feel like that was pretty. Uh, I don't know. It was kind of an overblown storyline, if you ask me, but it was still great.
yeah,
I mean, you were so used to Savage and Hogan being good buddies and all that, and you know, it was
the,
cool to see that.
having the greatest handshake in the history of handshakes,
Right.
where like they both got to lean in a little bit,
Oh,
and
we don't even want to shake hands because we're gonna.
so
Because wasn't that the one that was at Trump Plaza too, where he was worried about the walls falling in for Trump Plaza because of the mega
yeah,
powers colliding? I believe is that promo.
dude. Uh,
Dude, the
yeah,
the
yeah. It's
walls of the Trump Plaza.
I mean, it's up. Yeah, it's up there. I certainly remember them getting together, and it's like with their friends now. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it is the ending is very anticlimactic, if you ask me. It's just with like you've been looking at Elizabeth. It's like really this is how we're gonna ride ourselves out of it. It's like jealousy, like dude
Yeah.
jealousy. So
But
yeah,
the way that it happens is great where um they're talking about, like Miss Elizabeth steps in and almost takes the guitar from the honky honk man, which I will just to put on record. I know I've said before, the guy's gimmick was a rock and roller, and he never learned how to play guitar at all through his entire shtick as the honky tonk man. So there's that. Um, I'm not a fan, but our good buddy Jerry Shimp that's his favorite wrestler. So. Um,
well,
yeah,
can I tie in a Kiss reference on this episode? No
go
episode would
for it.
be
Go
complete,
for it.
right?
Right.
He played like there was a Kiss wrestler. That was his first
The
gimmick, I
kisser.
believe.
Right. The kisser.
Yep,
Right. Wasn't that what it was?
yep.
Yeah.
Wore jeans, makeup, and I'm assuming instead of hitting dudes with guitars, he licked them. Maybe.
Yeah. S- Um,
Probably not. It's probably
sip,
something like probably like a body slam they
y-
called. Oh,
y-
there's the come on and love me slam.
is the cold gin. That would be great if all of his moves were just, you know.
And he is shouting it out loud. Listen to this crowd. They certainly want to rock and roll all night and party every day with him. I can keep going.
You could keep going. Are you watching any current wrestling, Steve? Are you doing
Yes,
anything?
yeah, I am. I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying what Triple H is doing now that he's kind of overseeing everything. I really like it. AEW is whoo, they have taken a downward turn. So I'm
Right.
sure you've been following now that
With
CM
CM Punk.
Punk and
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
So just think that dude is just unhappy with, and I don't think I think he's one of those people that's just never going to be happy.
Yeah,
So
well, and I mean, he sort of, did the same thing with
yeah,
WWE and
absolutely.
everything like that. So,
Same thing.
he gets to a certain point and he's just sort of like, I'm done. But yeah, I think that a friend of mine pointed out to me as far as with like if you look at WWE stock, it's like up 40%. So it's like the rest of the market is doing terrible, and yet WWE is
Well,
like
I
for
think
some
there's
reason.
renewed faith. I think
Right.
there's
Well,
renewed
yeah,
faith in
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So
Well, and I mean, to be honest, it is nice to kind of like I get it, and I know that who knows what Vince McMahon sort of his involvement is, but like it's just kind of nice not to see him. Like to be honest with you, like it's just kind of like sort of that out of sight, out of mind thing, where like sure, yeah, he's still involved with them somewhere, but at the same
well,
time, it's not right.
yeah, I don't think that I have yet to hear anybody who is just shattered and shocked by these allegations that have come out. I
Right,
mean, he's not necessarily known as being the most easygoing guy, maybe.
right. He's a alpha male personality sort of thing, so that's just the way it is. It's his rules. It's his
Ooh, Mark
game.
Neely says favorite Pirates player in your lifetime.
Oh my goodness.
In your lifetime.
God. That's tough. Um, we're gonna say Andy Van Slyke. Um,
Not Jay Bell.
Jay Bell's great. I mean that whole oh my goodness, like it's hard to pick. Uh,
And then O'Neill Cruz, you could say about O'Neill Cruz. Of course, he'll be wearing pinstripes in the next couple seasons. So
like how Jenny says Al Martin. That's great.
yeah,
How about you, Mark Neely? Who's your favorite Pirates player in your lifetime? It was just Roberto Clemente Day the other day. Did you see that? It
yeah,
was his
oh yeah.
John Matlack pitching to him for his 3,000th hit, stand-up double, basically, right? It was a stand-up double. I think it was a
I believe
stand-up
so.
double.
I watched the other night on speaking of the Pirates. Saturday night they showed on Pluto TV again. If you don't have it, it's free. They showed the Game 7 of the '79 World Series between the Orioles and Pirates, and Colvey just, I mean, Grant Jackson too. What an unsung hero of the Pirates in that series is Grant Jackson. Like he got himself in a couple of jams, but he got himself out. Rest in peace, Grant Jackson. What a
Yeah, and
dude that just set everything up for Kid Colvey and
if you look though, so like I think the real interesting thing about that series is um, Bruce Keeson, who I mean he played back with the '70 team. I think it was like him and Manny Sanguillo were the only two that had played, or I guess
Stargell.
Stargell would have been, maybe it was three. Okay, maybe it is three.
Yeah,
You know,
because that
I
yeah
think that's it.
that was it.
I
Yeah,
think that just those three were the only three that had been on the '70 team, and well, the '71 team. I'm sorry, they were on the '70 team, but they were also on the '71 team. Um, and I mean, he pitched that first inning, and I think they took him out after like the second or third inning, and then they never put him back in for the rest of the series. And I mean,
wow.
he just did horrible. I mean, the reason that first game, I think I don't remember, the actual um, score. I think they lost that first game, but it was pretty like devastating. Like I think he gave up quite a few runs, maybe three or four. Pat Clements is pretty awesome. Jason
Jason Kendall.
Kendall, yeah,
What
yeah,
an underrated catcher he was, man.
yeah.
Just the guy was just a beast.
I mean, Jason
Yeah.
Kendall, his thing was basically just he would catch and he would drink a six pack of beer at the end of the evening, and that's what he did. And unfortunately, he played on during a time that was, there are certain levels of crappy pirates, but he definitely played in a pretty dark time. And again, I mean, if you look at his stats from that time as a catcher, I mean, I think he had over 1,000 some hits, something like
Mm-hmm.
that. I mean, he's had pretty good. Pat Clements is my distant cousin. No kidding, that's very
Yeah, very
cool.
cool.
Steve and I have both sent cards to Pat Clements
Yeah.
and gotten autographed cards from him. So
Yeah.
um,
He's very nice. Give him our best from two fans.
there you go.
So
Well, hey Steve, let's talk about. I know you want to talk about sort of what you've been listening to this week, and
yes,
and,
yes.
and specifically, can we talk about John Mayall's "The Turning Point"? I know that
Yes.
you had listened to that, so why don't you talk to me about that album? How did you discover that album?
So I had Blues Breakers, and that's all I had for several years. And I was going through, I believe I was going through the dollar bin, and I
Hmm.
thought the cover looked cool. And I was reading, the liner notes and things like that. This was recorded live at such and such, and I was like, oh, okay. So a live album. It kind of perked my curiosity. Bought it and really, really liked it. It's not. You see, what has me from becoming a major fan of his is it's not heavy blues. It's very much traditional blues, and I'm not putting it down or anything like that.
Hmm.
But when I got that, I was expecting something like like Cream or
Hmm.
maybe something softer. Not as heavy as Blue Cheer, but something a little toned down. Something like a real power trio or something like that. And I just never got that. But I like Blues from Laurel Canyon pretty well. And I want to say that those are the only three I have by John Mayall, but I
Okay.
always go back to the Turning Point. I like it. It's just I wish there was just a little bit more to it.
Well, the thing that I would want to emphasize with that is, um, his he definitely was on that cycle of like he would put out an album every single year, and it's a lot like the Grateful Dead when you can look at them and say, you know, this is what they were doing at this
Mm-hmm.
specific time frame, and then within 6 months they're doing something completely different, or they've introduced a new song, something like that. So like if we talk about, you think about the 72 Grateful Dead and you think about the 73 Grateful Dead, I mean, they're almost two completely different bands.
Yeah.
You have, the amount of songs that are added to the repertoire, just based off of,
Of
the
course,
way that
Pigpen
right.
passing away, and
But
Keith and Donna really getting their spot in. So
but John Mayall is similar in that aspect where, I think what the Blues Breakers album I think came out in 60, was it 65, I think,
5, I
yeah,
think so.
65. And then I think 66 was like hard, either 60, yeah, 66 was Hard Road with Peter Green, and then he goes on and he does, the Fleetwood Mac thing. And then you have the Crusade LP, which also had some. I think that was like he did half of that album, something like that. Bare Wires is 68. That's an interesting one that you might want to check out.
Okay.
It's like a sidelong suite, and it's a little bit more on the psychedelic side in the sense of sort of like, almost like a lo-fi psychedelic kind of thing. Like he does there's like a one little piece that he does the harmonium, like he plays that because like, and if you look at the Blues Breakers album, I think that's one of the I love the mono version of it. I hate the stereo version of it because it's
Really?
seriously like, well, because it's like males in one ear and then like Clapton's in the other, and it's almost like you just want to like just turn out like, the organ sometimes just gets a little overbearing, and it's just, as far as with the separation, it's almost like the Doors' first album, like how everything sort of, you have,
Yeah.
Robbie on one side, Ray on the other, and then you have, um, John in the middle and Jim in the middle. So it's sort of like, you kind of have those channels that are sort of talking to each other. The mono just kind of sounds a little more, right where it needs to be. But yeah, so you had 68, you have Bare Wires, and then of course, Mick Taylor's on that album. And then also too, I think you had at the like that was like I think at the beginning of 68, like 67, 68, and then at the end of 68 you have Blues from Laurel Canyon. And then as they're sort of like touring on that album, that's when they
Hmm.
do it was like almost like spring of 69 they're doing that, and then by September they're doing the turning point thing. So it's I think it's cool just kind of hearing sort of that sparse arrangements. I know that you and I talk a lot about sort of Crosby, Stills, Nash. Sort of how that sort of was the change in the way that as far as with music, how you have sort of that again, same with the band music from Big Pink, how that was sort of an antithesis for um, really just with the change of how music happens in that during that time frame. But um, he suffers from the same thing that Paul Butterfield has, where it's like it's a blues band and they're trying to change direction, but then they're still like we're still a blues band, we're still doing like the do 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 the 12 bar kind of the 12 bar kind of blues thing. So um, but yeah, I mean, Room to Move, right? That's on that
Yeah,
one. I mean, that's
yeah.
kind of the one of the high points of that album.
California, old radios just said that. You know, I
Do, do,
posted that
do,
on the
do,
page.
do, do,
Yeah,
do, do,
yeah,
do,
I thought
do,
that
do,
was
do,
really
do,
cool.
do.
So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's and I don't want you to think I'm disparaging or putting it down. It's a great record. I mean,
Hmm.
it's a really great record. Again, like I said, I guess just the reason I haven't it didn't grab a hold of me. It's just because I was expecting something different. You know, when you go into something with preconceived notions and you're and it doesn't exactly fit that to a T, the chances are you're going to be disappointed.
I mean, but you have to think too. What the fans expect from John. Like, if you think about it, we talk a lot about sort of the career kind of career suicide and things like that. Um, like that was a pretty gutsy move on his part to say like, okay, like Clapton came out, Peter Green came out, Mick Taylor came out, who's now with the Rolling Stones. And here's what I'm gonna do. We're just gonna play acoustic music, but then again, and that's why I think his career. I mean, again, he's a guy that he's tons of albums, and they're so cheap, on vinyl to find. Nobody's really, sure that Blues Breakers album, like people search that
Sure.
album out. Maybe Blues from Laurel Canyon might be another one that kind of like is one that people are, it's on their radar. But like the I think the follow up to that was like I think it's blues jazz fusion. It was a blues jazz. No, it was a jazz blues festival. It was a blues jazz. Yeah. But yeah, it was. I think it was a blues jazz fusion, and
He wrote this.
yeah, Saucy Jack. This is about Jack the Ripper, a freeform jazz number about Jack the Ripper. Um,
This is written by our basic. What do you say?
this is the new direction of Spinal Tap.
This Derek Smalls. He wrote this, and he's got those bug eyes. He's really
Yeah,
into it.
yeah. I gotta watch that movie again.
The other guys were like, "I'm just gonna work at the dry cleaners, man."
Yeah, such a great movie.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
fantastic.
but so on jazz blues fusion blues jazz fusion jazz blues whatever it was. There's a part on there where it's a live album, and then like the somebody in the audience is going the chicka chicka song, and he's like chicka chicka what, and everybody's like trying to get him to play Room to Move, and he was like, did you come to see a concert or did you come to hear a record? And like to me like it's like, man, like you talk about that guy to eat his words
The
because
cojones.
right, well, no, because it's like, okay, this is what you're saying in like 1970, and now it's like, and again, I met John Mayall. I saw him in concert. I went to a place in Buffalo, New York, I think 2004, 2005, something like that. And great guy, signed some stuff. And
Nice to you.
yeah, it was absolutely nice guy. And but like it's weird, like it's like just the confidence. And I feel like it's the same thing sort of with like Butterfield, where it's like they were just like, hey, we're in the I'm the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. We played at Woodstock, we played at Monterey, we played at Newport with Dylan. And then it's like, yeah, your albums are, they kind of they become weak sauce. So um sure, they had some awesome albums, but it's like they kind of
But but
supernova.
isn't that the mark of a lot of those bands? Like, they get you. Some bands get strapped with that moniker of, well, you got to go see them live. You can't really listen to the studio stuff. You got to see them live. And
Hmm.
I don't know. I kind of feel like that. That probably applies to a lot more bands than that we could name.
Yeah, but just even I think you and I have been talking a lot. I've been trying to like get you to listen to the Paul Butterfield Blues Band
And the
um,
first Bee Gees album.
and the first Bee Gees album. But it's again they're like you said, you can probably narrow that down to maybe their first two, and then they just sort of like I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But again, then you have other bands that are the sleeper bands that hey, they were in this band and then they broke up and they were in this band and then they were whatever. So Uncle Bo's on. Hey, Uncle Bo, how is
Hey,
it
what's up,
going?
Bo?
Nice to see you on this fine Tuesday evening. So what else have you been listening to, Steve?
Well, I am going to show you what I've been listening to, and then I'm going to show you three records that maybe my opinion has changed on them, maybe it hasn't.
Ooh, okay, all
The
right.
first one, I probably talked about this before. I don't remember, but this time of year, this usually gets played a lot. And Harvest Moon by Neil Young. It's I don't even want to say later in his career because he's still out there doing it. So
Yeah.
mid career, I guess at this point is what you want
Remind
to
me when
call
that's
it.
from. Isn't that from? That's not from the like
Nine,
92,
92,
92. Okay.
92. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Unknown Legend from Hank to Hendrix. I mean, just great stuff. Right.
You are like a hurricane.
I played that Friday when we were getting the funk, baby.
Yeah.
And nobody else thought it was funny.
Hopefully our good pal Dan down in Florida is doing all right. So we haven't
Absolutely.
he
Absolutely.
hasn't checked in this evening, but hopefully he has. Just got Harvest Moon, Harvest, and Freedom on CD a few weeks ago.
Nice.
Nikon Jinmi, is that your first? Is this like your first introduction to those albums, or have you heard them before? Because that's pretty good. Those are like if you get those three, you pretty much have kind of like there's not much more that you need. I mean,
Oh, contraire, on the beach, stars and bars.
yeah,
Everybody knows this is
after
nowhere.
the gold rush. I mean, yeah,
Uh,
there's yeah, you know what I
Rust Never Sleeps, one of the greatest records of all time.
again, but that's like three of. Okay, you're very familiar. All right, cool. I was
Cool.
gonna say that's like three of the Big Ten, I'd say at least.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'd
Right?
agree. I'd
Yeah.
agree. Reactor, you need Reactor with "You Were Born to Rock." You'll never be an opera star. You ever heard that song? And then ha 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 ha.
Neil
That's the
Young and
chorus.
the Blue Notes, this notes for
No,
you.
no, this is prior to that.
I know, I know.
This yeah. What's that one song that's on there? Like something Joe. I'm gonna play that tonight. I like that record. I like
Okay,
that record. So yeah.
all right.
All right, all right. Here, here's an album that has not changed my opinion on. This is "Laid Back"
Uh,
by
so
Greg Allman.
so before
So
you go any further, I know that we talked about the Allman Brothers a long time ago, and
it's
I
just Grateful Dead for people who like okra.
okay, there you go, or mushrooms. Um, but like I've always seen that record. It's that one, and then it's the one where he's like playing, and it's sort of like which I think that's the one that has "I'm No Angel" on it, right? Not that one,
Let
right?
me show you
You
my
my tattoo.
tattoos.
um, yeah. I've always seen that one, and I've always been like I should get that, and I never did, and still okay. Still,
All right,
talk to
all
me
right.
about it. Talk to me about
So here's the thing. As the title suggests, this is laid back. It's a little too laid back. Now, I
it. A
have
little too
been.
up tempo. That's a
It's
joke for Uncle
it's
Bo.
it's just one of those albums that doesn't go anywhere. It's all ballads, like all 8, 9, 10 songs,
Ooh.
whatever. They're every single one of them is a ballad. Except for one, but it's garbage, so it might as well be. However, do not buy this, but there is a 2 CD legacy edition that has you essentially get the same record 3 times. You get the original mix, which is got horns and strings on it. Think of like Bad Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and you kind of have an idea of this. So some people would argue there's no good Blood, Sweat, and Tears, but they'd be wrong because the first couple of records are
First
fantastic.
two. We'll give them the first two.
Yes, yes. After that, I would agree with that. But those first 2 Blood, Sweat, and Tears albums are amazing. Um, but so you get the original mix, of course, which is it's almost like they wanted him to be a new top 40 darling.
Hmm.
And so they kind of saddled him with these. Well, not saddled him. He kind of wrote these ballads. And I'm not putting down ballads, but an entire record of it gets a little tedious, especially again, preconceived notions. You're thinking you're going to get some blues or something like that. So the original cut of this album is terrible. The other version you get of it is a solo. Basically, it's Greg Allman with either on guitar or piano, and it's him.
So it's kind of like demos, right?
Well, no, yes, but I'll get to that. So you get that recording as well, which is good. It's better. It's the overproduction is gone, and it really boils all the nonsense and fat down, and you really see some of these songs are pretty good without all that other stuff, muddying up the mix. But then there's one after that that is essentially let me put down here. I have it. I had a point, I promise. But so you get both those mixes, and then the third mix you get is rare, kind of different mixes, and that's the one you want. You get the studio quality of this album, but all the other nonsense is taken out of it, and that's the best mix to get of this. You really see some of his lyrics come through, and it's not overshadowed by these incessant terrible horns going throughout it. So the 2 CD legacy edition, I think it's still in print. So you can get it for 20, 25 bucks. If you just have to get a copy of this album, that's the one to get. These you can skip the vinyl. You
I
can
mean,
you can completely skip the vinyl.
it's just so funny how that you can, that you can get those, still get those legacy ones, and I'd be curious to hear what the actual like, um, I don't know, like what the actual run was, like how many of those did they actually make? But I'll be on the lookout for that one. Um, but yeah, so the other album though, is that one better than this one? The one was I don't know what that one's called. It is better. Just in general.
I'm no angel.
I'm no angel. Yeah.
I have no idea. Why listen to that when you can listen to Idlewild
Right,
South or
right, exactly.
so? Yeah,
Let's put on Mountain Jam. So
right. Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
so Uncle Bo said, Mark, didn't you see Perry Como in the Holy Land? I did. There there is uh in Perry Como is from Cannonsburg, Pennsylvania. So there's a statue right next to their what is it, their kind of their township building or their whatever their building is, and they actually have his music piped in, so like if you would go to pay like your tax bill, then you could get to hear Perry Como, Mr. Relaxation, uh
Pay my tax bill.
Mr. Miss.
Yeah, pay my tax bill.
So what else you got, Steve? What else have you been listening to?
Here's a record that my mind was changed on. I kind of see,
Ooh, okay.
okay, and you know what this is.
Oh,
But
okay.
but you tell me, and then I'm going to tell you my thoughts on this. Well, I'm not. Yeah, I'm going to give you the floor.
So I bought that record. I listened to it maybe one time, and then we had to box everything up, and so I listened to it like one time. I
Mhm.
know it's a headphone record, and I need to listen to it through headphones.
Yes.
Um, but I kind of, again, in the Court of the Crimson King, it's like a perfect album. I mean, it's a perfect. There's a few parts you could take out. I mean, I could easily make that like a half an hour album. It's just an incredible album. But I feel like that's just sort of like the outtakes and sort of the next, kind of the next sort of step on that. But yeah, so Jimmy was talking about the Gentle Giant, but yeah, King Crimson. We've been sort of been exploring them on the last couple of episodes that we've done. So
In this, I know this is Chris's favorite King Crimson album. I know you and I have talked
yeah,
offline that like you're like, yeah, this is kind of my second favorite by them,
yeah,
and I still like Red a whole lot, but this is basically in the Court of the Crimson King Part Two,
right.
and it's the first tune on it. Well, I guess the second tune on it. Let me look because there's no track listing on the back of it. The reason, I guess, why I like this, and I don't know why it didn't grab me the first time, is because basically Pictures of a City is another
I talked
21st
to Wayne.
century
Well,
schizo,
right, exactly. Yeah, but
but
there's
then
yeah,
Cadence and what is it? Cadence and well, I can't even see it on here. I mean, that's it. It's I Talk to the Wind again, complete with a flute solo even
right,
in
right.
it. So this is really like really trying to recreate that album, like
Hmm.
literally. The second song is going to be a mellow song with a flute, and then this, and that's what it is. Um, but I dig I Talk to the Wind. That's my favorite King Crimson tune. But this is kind of really, yeah, it's part two, right?
Yeah,
Usually, not always, but usually the sequel is not as good as the original, unless we're talking about Empire Strikes Back. But this is a great companion piece with it, right? You could
yeah.
listen to both albums, and it would kind of almost be seamless.
Yeah, and I think that, again, looking at it from my perspective, where I said like I never really wanted to explore them because I knew that in the Court of the Crimson King was like, yeah, it
It's
was
never
never
going to
gonna be,
top it.
yeah, it was never gonna top it. But
Yeah,
it was to me, it was sort of a welcome, sort of like, just hey, here's a little bit more of sort of those things that you like. But again, it was, they did kind of explore the fringes and stuff like that. So.
and
Um,
that band loses me until they start doing Red, which I love, and I think that is. I still think Red is my second favorite. This would be a third, and then
yeah.
Larks would probably be at number four.
So Jimmy
Oh,
said
pardon
that
me.
he just bought Red on vinyl when he got those
I
Neil
love
Youngs.
Red.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Red's an amazing record. Red
I've
is absolutely.
I've yet to track that down, and again, it's hard to find their stuff. Just in general, like I forget which one they sort of always see. It might be Lark's Tongue. I think I always see. I think that was a pretty
Islands
popular.
or something like that.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
Lizard was number two
Lizards. Yeah,
on that.
Lizards is terrible. I mean
Um,
that King Crimson is hit or miss for me. I mean they
yeah.
really are. I either absolutely love it or I just don't want to be bothered with it.
Yeah, Jimmy, you'd probably be interested to know that there's actually a King Crimson. What do you want to call these, Steve? Like official bootlegs that they kind of
Yeah,
did, right? Like,
yeah. Mark and I were talking about this earlier. I think there's in like 20, gosh, this has probably been like 2012, 2013. They put out what they had of the Red Tour, and it was very various quality. Some of them were co-pocket recordings that you could download from various nefarious websites, and then some of them were borderline soundboard mixes or even radio broadcasts of shows. But it looks like at least in Japan that's super out of print now.
yeah,
But at least in Japan, I think they've released them individually, and even though those are $50 a pop, so
well, I think using the website that I was going to do, they had a deal where it was, if you spent $65, then you got 20% off. So it makes it a little more palatable.
sure.
And of course, the proceeds from McDonald's toys, we'll bring it full circle here. That's kind of makes that a little guilt-free.
There we
Um,
go.
but yeah, so Jimmy, there's one from the Stanley Theater, 1974. Which would that be the Red Tour? Is that what
Yeah.
that was? Okay. So I'm looking forward to listening to that and kind of digesting that. So Casey and the Sunshine Band, the King Crimson and the Sunshine Band, uh,
Shake, shake, shake.
Robert Fripp's Sunday Brunch with Toya that we will never understand. So what else, Steve? What else have you been listening to?
The last record, again, this is one that I've had for years and I've never played it. Are you familiar?
David Bromberg. Yes,
Bromberg,
yes,
yes.
sir.
Do you like this?
It's I've never really gotten. I mean, he's done a lot of stuff with Jerry Garcia, and it never really tapped into. I don't know. I, I have a lot of his stuff, but I don't really listen to it. There's one that's
Yeah,
I forget the one is something disguise. I don't remember what it is, but I have that one too. And
Judy in disguise with glasses.
that would be John Fred and his Playboy band. Something completely
Look
different.
at
But
you
yeah,
just pulling that out like that. This
yeah.
guy, this guy, this
Judy in
guy.
disguise. Yeah, go ahead. So talk to me about that one.
Yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed it enough to probably track down his other records. No, but I can see myself putting this on again.
Demon in Disguise is the name of the album. You've seen it before. That's what it looks like.
Yes, yeah.
Demon in Disguise with
With
glasses.
glasses, and he does have glasses, so
He
there's
sure
that.
does. He sure does.
And yeah, it could be said for Jeffrey Dahmer too. Let's bring it full circle again.
There you go.
Bring
Um,
it full circle again.
so that's his what? That's his first album, right? Yeah.
This is his first album. I believe that The Demon in
Okay.
Disguise with Glasses
This is
is his
second.
sophomore album, which is what it'll be known for here on out.
Yeah.
Because it's just too good. It works.
Well, talk to me about it. What do you like about that? Is it? I mean, it's like bluegrass, right? Like kind of
Yeah.
bluegrass.
There's blues and bluegrass put in there. There's lots of Foggy Mountain Breakdown kind of stuff going on.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing really to say. I mean, yeah, it's bluegrass, but more so blues than grass, if that makes any sense.
All right. There you go.
So I dig it.
Very cool, man. Well, that's really kind of all that I had. I mean, obviously, it's been a uh, pretty bonkers month for me. So everything's been packed away. I haven't really been buying anything. That the Grateful Dead Madison Square Garden stuff is going to be dropping here in a couple of days. So I'm kind of looking forward to dig into that.
I've
Um,
listened to a little bit of that. Sirius played a few tunes from that.
okay.
Yeah, really. I mean, really good stuff. I mean, it's 1980s Dead. I mean, it's or 1980 Dead. So it's I mean, it's all good. That's a great year.
Yeah,
That's a really great year. Brent was what they needed at that point in time.
for sure. Um, Odie's Radio is going to the last swap meet of the year on Sunday. Well, good luck.
What are you gonna get? Let me ask you something. Old radios like the stuff that you fix up and repair. Do you end up flipping that, or do you just are you gonna have like a small museum? And I'm not being facetious. I think that stuff's really cool. I just, I'm not good at fixing anything, Mark. If the batteries are not working and that doesn't fix it, I'm like,
You're
sure,
done.
you got
Yeah.
to throw it out. Got to throw it out.
It's I
So
think having a small little bit of an education for electronics, I think goes a long way. So um, it keeps it mostly but sell if I really don't use it. Yeah, well,
I understand.
you've had some cool stuff. I mean, you've been able to.
Yeah,
I think the other thing that you can say about that early stuff is it's the circuitry and things like that it's very simple. So it's not if you understand how it works, it's kind of again they're simple circuits. They're not things that are like hey, this has to be this chip has to be put in here or whatever. So. Um, yeah, did you ever when you were in high school, did you ever have to take any type of shop classes like that?
and
No.
I took home ec so I could talk to girls.
See, we had to do both. You had to do home ec, and then you also had to do shop. So we had, metal shop, wood shop, and then we had one that
Metal Shop
was
sounds like a heavy metal station. Play you nothing but metal and Judas Priest.
back from the metal shop. Metal shop was fun. I made a napkin holder. Take a guess what it was.
Probably a piece of tin that you just kind of folded like that and was like, here you go.
But what was it? We had to draw a design on it. What did I do?
Gee, I don't know. How about a Steely?
Yeah, it was a Grateful Dead bear. But yeah, close.
Do you still have it?
I think I have to. And it wouldn't have been something I would have thrown away.
You
But
could put that on your table, man. Put that right
uh,
near right in your dining room table.
it's
So
it's
people come over and say, "Oh,
it's
what's
somewhere.
that?"
So we seriously got a piece of metal. You had to like round the corners off. A lot of sanding with and doing the files and
How many
then
injuries occurred in this class?
it wasn't that bad. Um, and then we had to make a shelf. I made like a little pegboard shelf that, which to be honest, I mean, it took like, man, it took like almost a month to do that. But you think about the actual time that you would take to do that now. I mean, we basically got a board, we cut the board down, we sent it through a router, we sanded it, we drilled holes in it, we put the pegs in it, and then we stained it. And
Or I go to Target and spend $8 and boom, it's dead.
right, exactly. I mean, there's something to be said. Like
Oh, for sure. I'm not putting
woodworking
it
is
down.
fun,
There's some,
man. Woodworking
yeah,
is that's another
yeah,
thing that's it's cool. And
yeah,
I don't know if you know how to do that kind of stuff. It's I think I showed you that the railing that I put together, right? Did I show you pictures of that?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You
man.
did, you did. Look at you
That's
out
right.
there sweating and grunting and all that stuff.
So
You'll be checking,
if
you'll be checking your watch like they did at the volleyball game at Top Gun, where they're all like flexing to check their watches.
right.
Uh,
So um but yeah, I remember the rags and wood shop remnants of inappropriate shirts that got confiscated. Ooh, you went to an interesting high school.
Regale us with what they said.
Yeah. But yeah, so I took shop. I metal shop at wood shop, and then we did. There was one that was basically computer aided drafting, and then the other part of it was you had these sort of like I don't know. They were if they look like a mini Moog, like you know what I mean,
Okay.
like with all the little like the patch things in there, and then you would have to like patch circuits where you'd say like, all right, so here's my battery over here, and then I have to make it go through this, and then I got to make this light bulb turn up, but I'm making a switch for it too. So how do you like wire in the switch and everything like that? It's great. It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun, and then we got to play with the soldering irons, and the best thing with that was you take a piece of solder that was like a foot long and just like make this giant blue smoke coming out of there. Man, I don't think they could do that these days, but and there were always the kids like pretending to like smoke it and stuff like that, and it was like, man, I could only imagine. So. No, we didn't do Apple IIe. I don't remember what we even used to do the CAD, but man, I hated that. I was not a fan of that one. So, but that's it. So I think we'll call it a night here, Steve. We'll just an hour long. We'll be back next time, back in the New York groove. Hopefully, I can unbox some treasures, and I'm finding all kinds of cool stuff. Obviously, when you're
That you didn't even know you had.
yeah, when you touch all your records, put them all in the box, and then I got to unbox them again. There's some things that popped out. So, thanks for everybody for tuning in, and I will see you, Tully Blanchard, at the Greensboro Coliseum, June 7th, baby. So that's it. Sports truly over and out.
Yeah, you leave me with nothing to
Yeah,
do an
whatever you want
outro.
to say, Steve.
So
Go ahead and say whatever tagline you want to say.
they've all been used up.
They've all been used up.
So
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time. So take care. Back in the New York groove.
because I'm back.
Back in the new. I was listening to the original version of that.
Oh, by what's the name of that band?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, yeah, not good.
We're still live, Steve. I'm having trouble turning off
I
the
don't
mute.
say bad words.
Don't say bad words. Okay, come on. There we go.
We can
Everybody.
just hang out all night.
Yeah,
Whatever.
we could. Yeah, if it,
We need to do that a marathon show for charity.
we can do that. We can absolutely do that. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull this down. All right. Well, guys, have a
You
good
don't have to
evening.
go